Shalom. Before I begin, I'd like to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Racha Kudash. Double honors to my teachers, the apostles and the elders, a great millstone that rule well and that teach well, and also Shalom and salutations to the fellow brethren and laborers that are laboring in this work as well. So I'm back, with another lesson, and this lesson that I'm going to be getting into today, is basically going to be um showing the true characteristics and the true nature of the so-called white man. You see, because what he's done is painted himself as this benevolent and pure person. You see, but that's not his characteristics. You see, his true characteristics is that of a beast. You know, beastly, like you know. So let me jump straight into it and begin here in the book of Daniel chapter 4 and verse 17. And it reads, "This matter is by the decree of the watchers, and the demand by the word of the holy ones, to the intent that the living may know that the Most High ruleth in the kingdom of men, and giveth it to whomsoever he will, and setteth up over it the basest of men." So the lowest of men um, is set up, on the throne. And that was through Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. You see, so the Lord set up the bases of men to govern the earth. You see, and base means low, man. The lowest of men. You know? Oh, matter of fact, let me get this in the book of Second Ezra chapter 6. And verse 54, and it reads, "And after these, Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. And as for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel." You see, so these other nations are considered nothing, but there's hierarchy within that. There's hierarchy within being nothing, accounted for nothing, because you have these other nations, such as the Elamites, the Moabites, the Hamites, the Edomites, the Ishmaelites. These other nations, you see, they're considered nothing, but there's hierarchy within being nothing. You have the so-called white man, which is in that category of being nothing, but he's actually the lowest of the lows, man. He's the lowest of these nations. That's considered nothing. If what I'm trying to explain makes sense. You see? But this is who's ruling. This is who's governing the earth. But you see? And that answers the question to why, the earth is in the condition that it's in. Because it's being governed and ruled by a beast. You see? So let's get the definition of that word beast. And that's why scriptures refer to the so-called white man as a beast, man. Or the basis of men. And all over the book of Revelation, the Lord attaches that word to the so-called white man and his rulership. You see, beast, dragon, those words are thrown around, man. So let's get this word beast in the online etymology dictionary. And it reads, one of the lower animals opposed to men, especially a four-footed animal. You see? Also, a marvelous creature, a monster. And these are all words that you can attach to the so-called white man. You see, because prior to the Renaissance, You know, you had what was known as the Dark Ages, which so-called black men were ruling in that time in Europe, man. But with them ruling, you had the so-called white man in a beastly state, you know, to where he was actually crawling on his fours, man. His like a beast, hairy, you know, without clothing. You see, so the scriptures are accurate when it, attaches this word beast to the so-called white man, you know, and we're gonna get into it a bit later, Lord willing, you know. It says a monster, mermaids, werewolves, llama, satyrs, the beast of the apocalypse, a brutish or a stupid man. You see, and that's the case with the so-called white man. He's a brutish and stupid man. You know why? Because he's stupid to try to come up against Yahweh Bashim Shai. He's stupid and brutish to try to disannul the true God. You see, he's brutish and stupid for trying to disrupt the blueprint to governing the earth, man. You see, that's a beast like nature. You know, no honor. You see, it says from old French besté, animal, wild beast, figuratively fool, idiot. You know, and that's a so-called white man for you. Just to sum it up, he's a fool and an idiot. But what in today, you know, not today, nowadays, he's what? He's seen as this great guy in a suit and tie, you know, with clean shoes. But not too long ago, they were just in the bushes braying like like horses, man. You know, they were just wearing their underwears until they disintegrated. They didn't know how to shower and clean, but the Lord cleaned them up. You see, the Lord cleaned them up for prophecy's sake. So let me get this. Matter of fact, uh, Job 30 and verse 1, and it reads, "But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. And these that are younger than I," you know, this is Job speaking of, you know, the Edomites, the so-called white race, you know. And why are they younger than us? Because they're less significant, you see, than us. It says, Job said he wouldn't even set them to sit with the dogs of his flock. You know, so they couldn't even be around beasts, you know, the normal beasts. They were worse than beasts, man. They were worse than animals. You see? Why? Because they lack understanding. They lack reasoning. You know, they have no honor. They're just filthy. Matter of fact, let me get this, man. You see, because there's certain characteristics the Lord gave men. You know, a certain mindset. But the so-called white man, the Lord deprived them of many things, man. You see? So this is Ecclesiasticus, chapter 17, and I'm going to start at verse 1. And it reads, "The Lord created men of the earth and turned him into it again. He gave them few days and a short time, and power also over things therein. He endowed them with strength by themselves, and made them according to his image. He put the fear of men upon all flesh, and gave him dominion over beasts and fowls. They received the use of the five operations of the Lord, and in the sixth place he imparted them understanding, and in the seventh speech, an interpreter of the cognition thereof." You know, so what are these five operations? You know, the senses that you possess, you know, uh, your taste, your smell, your hearing, your feel, um, touch, you know, and you know, what would be the fifth operation? So you have taste. Yeah, it should be taste if I didn't say it already, man. But those are the five operations that the Lord gave us as human beings, you see? And it says in the sixth place, He imparted them understanding, you know. But humans are are um are given different operations from beasts, you know. Like a dog doesn't have reasoning to piss in a toilet, you know. You can train a dog, but if you're out in public, he'll just um he piss, you know, anywhere, wherever he feels like it, you know. But we humans, what? We have the understanding to avoid just, you know, to avoid pissing or taking a number two in a public light pole, man. You know, or diet. We're not to eat all things, but there's certain animals that eat all things. You see, so that's what it means that we've been imparted understanding. Oh, we can build different things. You know, humans can build different things. Animals can't build, can't you know, solve math problems. You see, that type of operation was given to men. You see, and it says, and in the seventh, speech, an interpreter of the cognotations thereof. So, matter of fact, let me look at that word cognotation and see what it means. It says the action of thinking deeply about something, contemplating. So, a conscience to be able to reason, you know, and solve problems. That's what cognotations mean. You see? But guess what? The so-called white man, he's been deprived of the operation of understanding and cognitions, man. Because if he could reason and think deeply about what he's doing, then he will stop it. But guess what? Scriptures also refer to him as what? Being not upright. You know, the spirit, the way he's made, you know, it's not upright, man. You know, so he's geared to you know, to just being brutish and stupid and a fool and an idiot, man. You see? Oh, let's continue on. This is verse 6. It says, counsel and a tongue and eyes, ears, and a heart gave he them to understand. Withal, he filled them with knowledge of understanding and showed them good and evil. You see, which the so called white man does not understand this dynamic of good and evil, you know? So let's jump here to this quote, man, you know, because this summarizes the so called white man and his characteristics. Um, this is from the movie Planet of the Apes, you know? This is what Cornelius had to say about the beast man, which is the so called white man. It says, beware of the beast man, for he is the devil's pawn. You know, and the so called white man is the physical counterpart of Satan. You know, Satan works through the Edomites, the white race. It's a so called white race. Just as the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai works through us on the right hand side. You know, Satan deals with the Edomites on the left hand side the same way. It says, alone among God's primates, he kills for sport or lust or greed. And what's an example of that? Cain and Abel. Oh, matter of fact, let's bring it closer to the near future. The Native Americans. You see, that was him killing for what? For sport, man, or lust or greed for the land, right? Perfectly depicting the so-called white man. You know, what scriptures say that, man? Matter of fact, let me get that. You know, this is the book of Saint John 10. And verse 10, and it reads, the thief, and who is this thief? Symbolic once again for the so-called white man, because that's one of his characteristics, theft, you know. The thief cometh not but for to steal, to kill, and to destroy. You see that? And that's the whole mojo of the so-called white man. You know? That's what he did with the Native Americans. He stole their land, he killed them, and he destroyed them mentally, man. You see, but Yahweh Shai said, I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. And I also dealing with slavery, man. You know how we were killed and stolen. The Southern Kingdom. You know. So let's get back to the Cornelius's proverb. It says, "Yea, he will murder his brother to possess his land." And you've seen that twice: Cain and Abel, and Jacob and Esau. Which Jacob was not killed, but um, Esau was desiring to kill his brother because of the blessing. You see, it says, "Let him not breed in great numbers, for he will make a desert of his home and yours." You see that? So if the so-called white man is allowed to continue to rule, what? He's gonna make a desert of his home and yours. What's the precept? Matter of fact, let me get Khan. This is Matthew 24 and verse 22, and it reads, "And except those days should be shortened." What days? The rulership of the so-called white man. It says, "There should no flesh be saved." You see, so if the days weren't um hastened, the so-called white man would destroy you know the earth and everything in it. If his days are prolonged, in rulership. It says, "But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." So let's get back. It says, "For he will make a desert of his home and yours. Shun him, drive him back into his jungle lair, for he is the harbinger of death." You know? And that perfectly depicts the so-called white man and his characteristics, man. You see that? So let me get this in the book of Habakkuk. Salakia. Habakkuk chapter 2 and verse 4, and it reads, "Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. Yea, also because he transgressed by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations, and heapeth unto him all people." You see, the so-called white man is as death, the harbinger of death. So with that, I hope this lesson was edifying through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. Call Halayim La Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai Bashim Hakodash. Until next time, Shalom.